God versus logic, the question that broke me and built me. Picture yourself at 23 sitting in a church you've known since you were a kid. But tonight, the stained glass windows feel like they're staring back, judging you. The hymns you used to sing without thinking now sound like questions you can't answer. For the first time, you wonder if everything you've built your life on, God, faith, eternity, is a house of cards you've been too afraid to touch. That was me, Daniel, 3 years ago when one sentence lit a fire I couldn't extinguish. Is belief without evidence still virtue, or is it fear of doubt? That question didn't just challenge my faith. It threw me into a war between God and logic, where I risked losing my mom's trust, my closest friends, my entire sense of self, all to chase a truth I wasn't sure I'd survive finding. I'm about to take you through that war. Every heart-pounding high, every soul-crushing low, every moment I thought I'd break. Stay with me for the next hour, because by the end, you'll be staring down your own big question, asking, what am I too scared to face? If this grabs you, smash that like button. It's how we keep these raw, real stories alive. Let's set the stage. I grew up in Willow Creek, Ohio, a town so small, you drive through it without noticing. Church was our heartbeat, Sunday services, Wednesday Bible study, summer revivals where the air smelled of grass and grace. My mom, Sarah, was my world. Single mom, 2 jobs, but she'd still kneel by my bed every night, praying, Lord, keep Daniel safe. Her faith was like gravity, constant, unquestionable. I believed in God because she did, because her prayers got us through Dad's cancer when I was 9, because doubting her felt like betraying the woman who gave me everything. Faith was my anchor, before math tests, basketball tryouts, even before asking Jenny Carter to prom. Spoiler, she said no. Doubt, that was for people who didn't have a mom like mine. Fast forward to fall 2022, I'm a junior at Carter State University, majoring in philosophy because I thought it'd be deep talks and easy A's. Wrong. My professor, Dr. Miriam Ellis, was a force, gray hair, eyes like knives, and a voice that could pin you to the wall. One Tuesday in a lecture on belief systems, she leaned over her podium and dropped the bomb. Is belief without evidence still virtue, or is it fear of doubt? The room went dead. Lena, my bio major friend who called religion mythology for adults, smirked like she'd won a bet. Caleb, my Bible study leader, clenched his jaw like he was ready to fight. Me, I felt like someone had yanked the ground out from under me. Why did I believe? Because Mom's prayers worked? Because church felt like home? Or because I was too scared to imagine a world without God? That night, I lay awake in my dorm, staring at a blank ceiling, and for the first time I thought, what if I've been wrong my whole life? If you've ever felt that kind of doubt creep in, drop a comment below. Let's share the weight of it. This wasn't a fleeting thought. It was an earthquake. That question clung to me like damp clothes, heavy and cold. I couldn't shake it. I started digging, not to ditch God, but to know if he was real or if I was just clinging to a story. I hit the campus library, pulling Pascal's Pensées off the shelf. His wager seemed like a lifeline. Believe in God, and if he exists, you win eternity. If not, you lose nothing. I scribbled in my notebook, logic's on my side. But then Lena, who'd become my unofficial debate partner, tossed me Dawkins' The God Delusion. Read this, choir boy, she teased. Dawkins' words were like ice water, religion as a meme, faith as a delusion. I'd argue with her at the campus coffee shop, my voice loud enough to turn heads. But look at the universe. It's too perfect to be random. She'd roll her eyes. Daniel, that's just you wanting a cosmic daddy. I was losing ground, and it scared me. The first big obstacle hit at Thanksgiving, back in Willow Creek. Mom noticed I didn't pray before dinner. You okay, Danny? She asked, her eyes soft but sharp. I mumbled about finals, but the truth was, I didn't know if anyone was listening to my prayers anymore. I felt like a fraud in my own home. sitting at the table where Mom taught me grace. Yet just when I thought I was sliding toward atheism, Caleb pulled me into a campus talk by Dr. Amos Reed, a theologian with a voice like thunder. His case for Guam, rooted in morality, beauty, even the math of the cosmos, was so tight I left buzzing. Maybe faith isn't dead, I thought. But the next day, Lena dismantled Reed's points, citing multiverse theories and Occam's razor. Hope, then despair. I was a pendulum swinging between belief and doubt, and I hated it. If you're feeling that same tug of war, share this story with someone who gets it. Let's start a real conversation. Things got messier. I met Ezra in a bookstore of all places. I was flipping through Kierkegaard, feeling lost, when this guy, mid-40s, leather jacket, eyes like he'd seen too much, leaned over and said, "You look like you're wrestling with God." I laughed, uneasy, but we talked for hours. Ezra wasn't religious or atheist. He called himself a seeker, someone who lived for questions, not answers. "Stop trying to prove God," he said. "Ask what faith does for you." That hit me hard. I started journaling not about arguments, but about me. Faith gave me hope when Dad died. Logic kept me from feeling naive. Ezra became my guide, meeting me weekly at that bookstore, pushing me to dig deeper. But the obstacles kept piling up. One night, Mom found my journal, saw my doubts about God, and cried like I'd broken her heart. "I raised you to trust the Lord," she said, her voice cracking. I wanted to fix it, but I was barely holding myself together. Then Caleb started pulling away, saying I was drifting from truth. I felt like I was on a tightrope, with faith on one side, logic on the other, and no net below. My grades slipped. I stopped sleeping. I was chasing answers, but every step forward threw a new wall in my path. If this tension's gripping you, hit that like button. It's a nod to everyone fighting their own battles. The climb got steeper. I decided to face my doubts head-on by auditing Dr. Ellis's advanced seminar on metaphysics. Each class was a gauntlet, students debating free will, consciousness, the problem of evil. I'd leave exhausted but alive, like I was finally asking the right questions. One day I presented a paper defending the fine-tuning argument for God, the idea that the universe's constants are too perfect to be random. Lena shredded it, citing multiverse theories. Ellis, though, gave me a rare nod. "You're thinking, Daniel. Keep going." That small win fueled me, but the next hurdle was brutal. Ezra dropped a bomb. "What if God's just a story you tell yourself to sleep at night?" I froze. Was my faith just comfort food? I stopped meeting him, retreated to my dorm, and binged every philosophy text I could find. Augustine, Spinoza, Russell. I was chasing a finish line that kept moving. My grades tanked. Mom called, worried. Caleb texted, "Come back to church." I wanted to scream, "I don't know who I am anymore." But deep down, I knew. I wasn't running from gun or logic. I was running toward truth, whatever it was. If you're on a similar chase, share this story. It might light someone else's path. The obstacles didn't stop. Lena invited me to a campus atheist club meeting, promising clarity. I went, half curious, half defiant. The speaker, a grad student named Priya, argued that belief in God was a cognitive bias, like seeing faces in clouds. Her data, brain scans, psychological studies, was compelling. I left rattled, but not sold. The next week, Caleb convinced me to join a church retreat. The guest preacher, Pastor Joanna, spoke about Abraham's leap of faith, trusting God to the point of sacrificing Isaac. I used to love that story. Now it made my skin crawl. Was Abraham a hero or a fanatic? I sat by the campfire, staring at the stars, and felt like I was splitting in two. Ezra's words echoed, "What does faith do for you?" I journaled that night. Faith keeps me grounded. Logic keeps me honest. Why do I have to choose? But the world kept demanding a choice. Mom stopped calling, as often, her text short and strained. Lena started calling me fence sitter, half joking, half annoyed. Caleb invited me to fewer Bible studies. I was losing everyone, and I wondered if the truth was worth it. If this is hitting you hard, hit that like button. It's a signal we're in this together. The storm kept raging. I threw myself into Dr. Ellis's seminar, hoping it'd be my lifeline. One class, we debated the problem of evil. If God's good, why do kids die of cancer? I argued for free will, saying suffering builds character. Lena countered, tell that to a starving child. I had no response. But then Caleb, who'd started auditing the class, spoke up. Suffering's a mystery, but God's love isn't. His words felt warm but hollow against Lena's logic. I was stuck, and it showed. Ellis pulled me aside after class. Daniel, you're not here to win. You're here to understand. That stuck with me. I started seeing the debate differently, not as a cage match, but as a dance. Faith and logic weren't enemies. They were partners, pushing me to grow. But the real test was coming, and it'd change everything. If you're feeling the weight of this journey, share this with a friend. Let's keep the conversation alive. Here's where it all collided, the climax. Carter State hosted a university-wide debate. Faith versus reason, can they coexist? Ellis moderated, Lena represented logic, Caleb, faith, and I somehow got roped in as a wild card. The auditorium was packed, 400 people, including Mom, who'd driven 3 hours to see me. My heart pounded as I took the stage. Lena went first, her voice like a scalpel. Faith is a crutch for those too weak to face reality. Logic demands evidence, not stories. Much Caleb countered, steady and warm. Logic alone leaves you cold. Faith gives meaning, purpose, love. Then it was my turn. I hadn't planned a speech, but I spoke from the gut. For a year, I've torn myself apart, trying to choose between thought and logic. I read Pascal, Dawkins, Kierkegaard, searching for a winner. But what if it's not about winning? What if the questions are the point? Faith isn't blind trust. It's trusting enough to doubt. Logic isn't a wrecking ball. It's a tool to build something stronger. I don't have answers, but I'm done being afraid of questions. The room was silent, then erupted in applause. Mom was crying, but smiling. Lena hugged me backstage. Caleb whispered, I'm proud of you. In that moment, I didn't find God or ditch him. I found me. I realized the search, the messy, painful, beautiful search was what made me whole. If this moment's got you fired up, smash that like button and let's keep this vibe going. But the story doesn't end there. After the debate, things shifted. Mom and I started talking again, not about faith, but about us. She admitted she was scared of losing me, and I admitted I was scared of losing her. Lena and I kept debating, but it was friendlier. She even came to a church picnic, mostly for the food. Caleb invited me back to Bible study, no pressure. Ezra sent me a postcard. Keep seeking, kid. I framed it. I'm still in Dr. Ellis's classes, still journaling, still wrestling. But I'm not fighting for answers anymore. I'm living for the questions. Faith gives me roots. Logic gives me wings. I don't need to choose, and that's freedom. If this is resonating, share the story. It might spark something for someone else. So what is the takeaway? This isn't just my story, it's yours. We all have beliefs we cling to, questions we bury, truths we're scared to chase. But here's what I learned. Doubt isn't your enemy, it's your ally. It's the fire that refines you, the map that leads you deeper. You don't need all the answers to be whole. You just need the courage to ask, what if? For me, faith and logic aren't at war anymore. They're dance partners pushing me to grow. Maybe you're wrestling with God or love or purpose, whatever it is, don't run from the question. Run toward it, write it down, say it out loud, share it with someone who'll listen. Because the moment you ask, you're already winning. If this story moved you, share it with a friend. Let's inspire each other to keep searching. And drop a comment. What's the question you're afraid to ask? I'm Daniel. Still seeking, still doubting, still believing. And I hope you are too.